Hey everyone, it is Jeanette with Untamed and Unapologetic, and today I have the fabulous Cathy Compton with me. I just love Cathy. Every time we talk, she opens my eyes to bigger things, bigger possibilities. And I think since I've met you, Cathy, I have grown significantly. And just from some of the things you've given me, and we just hang out with a bunch of amazing women too. So, Cathy, tell them how we met and tell them about you.
Yeah, thanks, Jeanette. No doubt. We are definitely a combination of the people that we hang around. And I don't remember the details of how we met. I do remember it was in a program to really own your worth and discover who you are with Lauren LaHave. And I do remember this. I remember meeting you and thinking, you're distinct. And by that I mean like people who are up to big things. I meet them a lot, I'm around them a lot, but you actually were an all-in kind of person. You were like, "Give it to me and let me take it and let me run with it and then let me help other people." And I knew the moment I met you, I was like, "We are gonna be in each other's lives. We're gonna be a team in some way." So I just remember being in awe and being like really excited to be part of your life.
Yeah. Well, when I heard about all of your accomplishments, I was the one in awe. I was like, oh my gosh, tell them all the things that you have done.
This is part of what I do in terms of personality sciences. There are some personalities that if you give them the stage, they'll jump up on stage and then they'll say, "What do you want me to talk about?" That's not my style. My style is I have to be prepared. All of the integrity, but
Yeah.
I will tell you my background for the sake of your viewers. So my background is I was a high level athlete for much of my life and then became a coach, and inside of that, I discovered how to communicate in a way with athletes and create in a way that you could take ordinary athletes and turn them into peak performing champions. And by that, I mean the best of the best, not
Mhm.
talent, but mindset and how to perform. So, fortunately enough to win halls of fame and championship games. And I was one of the winningest coaches in NCAA softball histories. But now what I do, because it was one thing to hang plaques on a wall, and while that may be great, I woke up one day and said, that's not what my life is going to be about.
Mm-mm.
Now what I do is I help people who are stuck in some way, like they're stuck in a mindset, they're stuck in some area of their life. And I started to study the neuroscience of stuckness, of how to
Mm.
stuck and how to go back and rewire the brain. Why? So that you could have love, love in your life, like create love in your life. And at the age of 63, I got married for the first time using this technology. And
I
then
love that.
whether it's that or leadership or business or
Mhm.
fill in the blank, whatever it is, whatever dream you have. And so that's what I do now. And I work with really anybody who has a dream and a vision and knows they're stuck and is willing to be unstuck.
Yeah, no, I love that you talk about mindset because I don't think a lot of people know how important mindset is. And not only like mindset, but everything that goes along with it, right? Our thoughts, our beliefs, our emotions, all of that drives us as a human. And I know we were talking earlier about like putting it all together and the secret of how you manifest this love. And I love picking your brain about the manifestation. And I've done my own, and I think I might have found it. But tell us more about it.
Yeah, that's great. Our brains are amazing machines in a way.
Yeah.
They are definitely machines in a way in that they have a way that they function. And people talk about a better body or a future or a mindset, and they do have affirmations, they do vision boards, but they rarely cross into lasting transformation, like
Mm,
lasting transformation, like a shift from literally cocoon, nothing but space and stuff
yeah.
into the surface area to a butterfly. And if you just think of that being possible, you can think of what's possible for human beings. So most people wait for crisis and trauma and disease and loss and all of that, but we can learn and change anything
Mm,
in a state of pain and suffering. We can learn and we can change to joy to choose life versus deciding. I think most human beings, while we have like 60,000 thoughts a day, most human beings are deciding versus choosing. And the moment you
yeah.
distinction and the technology behind it, because if you have basically the same thoughts day after day after day, and 90% of them are the same thoughts every day.
Mhm.
That research shows same thoughts lead to same choices, lead to same behavior, leads to same
Mhm.
experience, leads to same emotions, and this leads to the same biology and the
Yeah.
same result. And so what I think I've done is help crack the code of, well, how do you interrupt that and then create what you want, you know? Nerve cells that fire together wire together, and that's where it all starts is at the neuroscience level.
Yeah, you said something at the beginning that a lot of us wait for trauma. A lot of us wait for something big to happen in our lives. And I know that was true for me. It was once my brother died, I knew that, oh my God, like I'm not going anywhere. Like I'm stuck and in such a negative pattern that I started putting together pieces and started figuring out like why am I here? But what you're telling me is that you don't have to wait for trauma to happen.
Right, exactly, exactly. Because
Yeah.
by age 35, people have become memorized into their habits, their behaviors, their reactions, their
Complacent.
attitudes. They're literally and it's
Yeah.
even before that. There's literally it's almost like there's an automatic software program running, but we're hardwired too, and you can rewire, you can shift the software and
Yeah.
change everything. And this is the cool thing, Jeanette, it can happen in a moment's time. And all of us
Yeah.
have had experiences where we planted a stake in the ground. I could share so many stories with you
Yeah.
where the emotion and the energy and the declaration and
Mhm.
everything came together. And in a moment's time, and I mean a moment's time, something shifted. And whether it's
Yeah.
love or money, I remember, and I don't have time to share the full story, but I remember getting up in a seminar one time when I was
Mhm.
broke. I was about 60,000 and I knew how to manifest and I knew how to coach other people. I'd coached some really high level coaches and players and CEOs and people. They always fulfilled their dreams, but there was one area I was stuck in around money. And I remember getting up and saying at the front of the room,
Yeah.
I will be debt free. I don't care how it happens. I will be debt free. And believe it or not, within 24 hours, something happened such that not only was I in debt free, but it was double what I was. So basically
Yeah.
$120,000 turnaround. So it is possible in a moment's time. It doesn't take a lifetime. It doesn't take enrolling in a 3-year
No.
program. It can happen in a moment.
Yeah, and I can attest to this because we were actually together, correct? A few
Yes.
months ago at Maureen's house, our good friend, doing a Tony Robbins training, and in that moment, I myself was struggling financially, and I was behind on my mortgage payments, and I think we manifested it there, didn't we?
Yeah. We did.
I
We literally said
manifested
it'll happen within, I don't know, 24, 48 hours.
and it happened within the next week. I got a check for $8,000, which was the
Wow.
exact amount I was behind.
Wow. So that's so beautiful because sometimes people don't get, well, that's possible for you because you're powerful, Jeanette. Everybody knows you're strong, you're amazing, you're
I'm
powerful.
a little witchy.
Yeah, but the thing is it's available to everyone,
Yes.
because when people try to change the 5% of the conscious mind, which is basically what can control things, is they're up against the 95% that's subconscious, that's
Yeah.
unconscious, hidden from our view. But the moment you let go and you step into the unknown and you take it on like you did, because you have such power over your mind. And I
Mhm.
that you can think positively all you want, but the thought never makes it past the brainstem into the body. And when you can do that, when you can move past the thought or the idea or the affirmation or whatever,
Mhm.
and you can actually get it into the body and start to act, feel, think, and believe, then you can create the future that you want versus the same old predictable future. Because I think I read a statistic where 50% of what we fear, or it's 50% of what we think happened in our past,
Yeah.
that by the way, we keep putting in the future because that's what humans do. We take the past, we put it in
Yes.
the future. We take the past, we put it in the future. 50% of it never even happened. It's not even real. And I was a little bit
Mhm.
shocked by that statistic because 50% of what I think is real about me, about my life, about my past isn't even real. Like, that's real freedom because if that's
Yeah.
true, then I get to create the future instead of putting the past, more of the same, in my future.
Yeah, it's like we're taking what we believed to be us, right? And we're transplanting it in the future, but it's not even real.
It's not real. And that's And that's the beauty of the technology we're up against
Wow.
now, is that thoughts, behaviors, emotions, through repetition, it all plays a part, but
Mm.
when you get it and it gets into you, then you have access to use it in every area of your life. So,
Yeah.
because there are people out there, I meet them all the time that'll be like, "Well, I'm very successful in business. I see I
Yeah.
do this and this, but guess what? My relationship, yeah, that's a different story. I actually don't even want to talk about it." Or, "Oh, I
Mhm.
have a great family, a great relationship, but, we're struggling financially." Or even the person that says, "I've got a great family. I sold my business. Life is great, but there's something missing.
Missing.
There's something missing, and I can't quite put my finger on it. Maybe it's
Mhm.
leaving a legacy. Maybe it's traveling and being adventurous. Who knows?
Yeah.
Something missing." So, with the known past and the predictable future, there's gonna be no change, and that's where people are stuck because of known past and the predictable future. So, you can be greater than your body, greater than environment, greater than time, and you can literally create your life and have anything you want.
Yeah, and I honestly, let me ask you this because this is what I will definitely be calling you for to work with. Because I always have this, it's a limiting belief. It came from a very long time ago. And yes, I can manifest great things. And yes, I can do great things. And yes, my mindset is working every single day in the positive and in the positive direction for growth. But I still have that little voice that tells me, Jeanette, you're not worth it. Or Jeanette, you're never gonna get it. Even
Yeah.
though I have this other one over here that's saying, Jeanette, you're going to be a multimillionaire by the end of next year. Over here, she's like, it might take you 6 years.
Yeah.
What do I
Yeah.
do?
That's so great because Jeanette, you represent literally every human being on the
Yeah.
planet. And the most successful people have the same limiting belief, but a different flavor. And sometimes you see it in suicide. You see some of the
Yeah.
people at the top of their game taking their life. You see people that have it all. They have, I when I think of just people that have been so ultra successful and yet there was something
Hmm.
missing. And you're right, you mentioned the word like this little voice, this inner chatter.
It's
It
exactly what
does
it is.
start there, and
Hmm.
when you start to discover that inner voice is the rewiring and the patterns, and it's actually a survival mechanism that's in the
Hmm.
brain, and when I train in courses, I actually walk people through and explain, "What is it? And why does it
Yeah.
happen?" And people get like, "It's not something I'm creating, like, it's not something I'm choosing," and I'm like, "No,
Yeah.
it's an automatic response. It's a survival mechanism."
Survival.
Brain. And what it does is it's trying to keep you safe, but that same part of the brain that's trying to keep you safe and small and don't take any risks because you could back in the day you could get eaten by something, but now
Yeah.
it's like you could fail and that could be devastating for you. Not really, but that's what the brain's telling you is that once you can shift over to the other side of the brain and get that's a thought and it's a thought
Hmm.
from the past and it's a thought that's not real. If I actually weighed it on the scale of realness,
Hmm.
then you would find that it's literally not real. And one test that you could do is ask the people in your life, tell me who I am. Tell me who I am for you. Tell me who I am for you and create how you see me in my future. And you will be shocked at what people tell you. I did a simple thing yesterday. I'm going to share and tell one on myself so that you see I too have these winning championships, being in halls of fame doesn't mean I don't have those same thoughts and beliefs because I do, I have them daily. I just have
Well,
the
we're
technology
human.
I have the technology to
Yeah.
shift it and move forward. So yesterday, I was playing on Facebook, and I'm not a Facebook person, although I do post inside of my commitments and all, and I was like, "I should change this picture. It's old and the profile behind it and all that." So I'm playing around, I click on a picture, I click OK, and next thing I know, it's on Facebook. It's like live and people are starting to respond. And I'm thinking, crap, I can't believe I just did that. I didn't mean to do that. But you know what, Jeanette? I went back and I started to read what people were saying.
Uh-huh.
People were saying things like, "Oh, my coach, you made such a difference for me," or, "Oh my gosh, friend, I haven't seen you in years. You look great." Or they were just and I thought, "Wow, how I show up in other people's lens or view is very
Yeah.
different than how I show up in my
For
own
your
view."
own.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So that was shocking to me. So, I love being around you, being with you because we
Yeah.
can share one thing with each other, take it and run with it and produce a miracle. And that's the real power is when you can get the cause and effect cause and effect versus cause and effect. That's powerful because in the old model, we wait for
Yeah.
success to feel empowered. We wait for love to feel loved. We wait for healing to feel whole again and all that. But in this model, you generate the feeling first and then
Yeah.
thing comes into place and clicks after that. So,
I love that. That's like golden. And I really love this thing that you said, like, tell me who I am for you, right?
yeah.
In
Yeah.
your eyes, I'm like this powerhouse Wonder Woman that's doing all kinds of great things, but in my eyes, I'm like, I'm just trying to survive over here, right?
Yep, and that's the game we play is survival, creation, survive you're either surviving or you're creating, you're not doing both.
Yeah. I You mentioned failure, and I can tell you, like, for my own experiences, I used to fear failure, right? I used to be afraid and I never did anything. I was even quieter than I am now, and I'm not even that quiet now. But because I got over that fear of failure, now I see failure as a chance, an opportunity to learn so that I can keep moving forward. So I almost crave it in a way. And I think that's helping me rewire that little voice because it's telling the bigger voice is telling it, shh, like she's got this. She's got this. Like she doesn't need that. Like when she falls on her face, which I always do, and that's okay, she's going to get up and she's going to learn and she's going to keep moving forward. Right. But a lot of
Yeah.
people stop because, like you said, failure.
Yeah. Yeah, so the failure is a great one because failure is planted in our head at a
Mm,
very early age, and we spend pretty much a lifetime trying not to fail. And what I've uncovered in working with peak performers and leaders and champions and some of the best, they have the ability to say, "But wait a minute, there is no failure. Failure is a word. It's a word made up in
mhm,
our language, and it doesn't mean what we make it mean. We don't have to own it and have it. We can see it. You can even call it what it is like, oops, I failed. That project failed. You know what? This project, that's the one I really wanted to do. That one's going to be everything I want it to be. So, failure is really if you shift the context from you failed and you're a failure to failing at something means there's a lesson to be learned and an opportunity and that's a lesson that I now got, and when it's an experience in the body, you're actually on your way. Now it's one foot
mhm.
for the other, and it can happen in lightning speed. It can happen without having to, quote, "work hard and figure it all out." Real. So the brain cannot distinguish between what's real and what's imagined. So if you're imagining the worst or you're imagining you failed, your brain cannot tell the difference, and science has proven this over and over again. And a quick story of my own personal experience
Yeah.
is when I was in grad school at the University of Iowa, I was getting a degree in sports psychology, and I was hired as a TA, teaching assistant, so I could pay my way through grad school. And I was teaching meditation classes in the gym, in the Iowa gym. And I remembered my participants, the students were laying on the gym floor on a mat, and I had them close their eyes, and I said, we're going to do a meditation, take a few deep breaths in and out. Now, picture yourself laying in a field of daisies, looking up at the sky. Deep breath in, deep breath out. And all of a sudden, a woman started gasping for air and started having an allergic reaction, a pretty severe one. Come to find out, she was actually allergic to daisies,
Oh
severely
my
allergic.
gosh.
So I tell that story because your brain cannot tell the difference between real or imagined. So as kids
Mhm.
dreamed, I'm going to be a football player. I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be a lawyer. In fact, I'm going to be a lawyer who plays football and helps people. And then somehow we grow up and we can't do that. We can't do that. We can't do that. Somehow
Yeah.
by default, I'll be this or by default, I'll be single because, all the good ones are taken and there's no one out there for
Or it's
me.
too hard.
Don't work.
Yeah.
It's too hard. You can rewire your brain. You can shift that. You can end those connections, basically snip them like you would a pearl necklace. If you were to
Mm,
snip a pearl necklace, like a real pearl necklace,
mhm,
the pearls would go everywhere and it actually wouldn't even exist as a necklace anymore. And that's what we can do with the mind shifting, the neuroscience, the positive intelligence, all of those things now with technology, we can actually shift and disconnect those thoughts and patterns that are rewired,
mhm.
hardwired into your body and create new ones. The cool thing is those new patterns lead to new breakthrough results, not just in the one area of life. It literally kind
Yeah.
of spills over into everything. You look better, you feel better, your health improves, your sleep improves, your relationship gets hot, or you
Mhm.
get a relationship. It really is possible. And that's one of the reasons I'm excited is I was so frustrated for years of being able to do it, but not knowing how and not being able to tell other
Yeah.
people how to do it. And it's like you
Yeah.
become this like woo-woo guru or I don't know, weird things. But now I actually think people actually can create that. They just need to know the formula and they need to,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah,
believe it too. Like, as a therapist, I have a lot of clients that have come in, right? And they have literally created illness within their body because of the anxiety and the flow of thoughts, that the never ending loop. Like, everything is out of whack and they feel out of whack. And then we talk about it and we give them different perspectives and we teach them about reality and what's real and what's in front of them versus what's here. And they're able to heal themselves. And
yeah. I
so
love that you
that's just
do that with
magical.
people. Yeah, I love that you do
Yeah.
that with people because that really is it, is our like I
Mhm.
said, the brain cannot distinguish between real or
Mm-mm.
imagined. If you think it's so, it's so. And that's why
Yeah.
interrupting those thought patterns, stop, notice and observe what's in your listening, observe yourself. In fact, that's an easy technique your listeners can take away.
Yeah.
Stop and observe yourself. Observe that you're not the pattern, you just have one and it's running. It's kinda like you pushed have you ever had as a
Mhm.
kid, and maybe I'm dating myself, but had those little wind up toys that you wind them up and they just go and go and go and go and
Yeah.
go, and one will hit into the wall, but it keeps moving
It
even though
keeps
it's into
going.
the wall, it just keeps moving. If you
Yeah.
stop and you observe yourself and you actually just ask yourself, "Is this real? Or is this just imagined in my
Mhm.
unconscious, in my thoughts?" And maybe part of it's real, but not necessarily so. Or you can reprogram your consciousness, which is a big part of it. So the act
Mhm.
of observing means you're no longer the program. You have a
Yeah.
thought, you're not the thought. You have the thought, you're not the thought. Observing means you are not the program. You just
Mhm.
have a program, and that's the first step to change. And if I could share a quick story that
Yes.
that I'll never forget this because I was in a seminar and it just confirms everything you train in, everything you've shared,
Mhm.
what I've been sharing with the audience is I was in a seminar and a gentleman got up to speak from the front of the room and it was a transformational program. So it was about kind of
Mhm.
the truth, get that you're stuck, get that you're disempowered, and then you can transform it if you're committed to it and you're willing to do the work.
Mhm.
So he said, I'm a doctor. I'm retired now. I'm in my late 60s. And I've had a horrible, I'm not happy with life. And I've had a horrible relationship with my mother. In fact, I haven't talked to her in 30 years. Now, right then, my heart sank. I thought, who could go that long without talking to Source, the one that birthed them? But he went on to say, when I was about 5, 6 years old, I was out playing ball out back with my neighbor friends. And it was my turn to hit. And so I picked up the big wooden bat and they tossed the ball in. And when I went to swing, my neighbor Johnny leaned down in front of me to pick something up. And the bat hit his head and it actually hurt him pretty bad. He was bleeding. I ran home. I told my mom what happened. And so fast forward, he said, my mom made me wrong and gave up on me from that day forward. The guy's in his 60s. This happened when he was like 5 or 6 years old. And so the leader says, call your mom. Is she alive? And he said, yeah, she's in her late 80s. Call your mom. So he calls us again. We're at the part of the program where you're willing to give something up because just maybe it ain't necessarily so. So he calls his mom. He tells her, Mom, I haven't talked to you in years. I've resented you because, when that happened when I was a little boy, I was a little boy. I didn't know better. I didn't mean to do it. And he said, so that's part of why I haven't talked to you. The other reason is I wanted to be a pianist. I wanted to be a musician.
Mhm.
You had me be a doctor and I gave up on my dream. While I'm sorry that I haven't spoken to you in years, I wanted you to know that shaped my life. And what she said to him was, first of all, she was crying.
Mm.
And she said to him, I wondered what happened to my little boy. She said, you don't realize, Martin, is that I remember that day very clearly. You came home You were crying, but what you don't realize is you weren't the one swinging the bat.
Mm.
That was your brother. Your brother actually hit him,
Wow.
and I'm thinking,
I
"This
got chills.
made something up at the age of 6, and it has carried with him his whole life, and so now he's crying, and she
Yeah.
said to him, and she says, "And Martin, you became a doctor because ever since you were young, you wanted to help people." And she
Mm.
said, "I knew when the time came for you to be a musician, I knew that you could struggle a little bit there. It was a passion of yours, but musicians don't always make money, you know?" She said, "I asked you, what do you really wanna do? And you said, I wanna help people." And she said, "So you became a doctor, and think of the hundreds of thousands of people you've helped." And in that moment, his life shifted. Now now, you wanna look for yourselves is what if that conversation had been had? What if he disconnected that and unwired or rewired that belief that wasn't real when he was 7 years old, 10 years old, 20, 40, even 50 years old? Would his life have been differently?
So
And that's
different.
why I do what I do because I
Yeah.
want people to have freedom the rest of their life, however long they have. I want people to have freedom to create, to be empowered, to live out their dreams. And I share that story because I literally, that was a game changer for me. I was
Yeah.
like, no more waiting. It's time to go make a difference and stop the limiting beliefs and the things that got hardwired into our body that are not even real.
Yeah, no, that is powerful. And so many of us remain stuck because we lack, I don't know if it's the courage, I don't know, but to communicate those beliefs and pick up the phone and be like, "Hey mom, this is what I thought and this is what I believed," and listen to the other side. Even people with their spouses, right? They believe one thing about them and then the spouse believes something completely different, but they don't ever talk about it. Same with friends. Like a lot of people fall in and out of friendships. It's because you don't have the courage to pick up the phone or show up at their house and say, "Hey, this is how I feel. This is what I believe. Help me."
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's you don't have to be who you were hardwired to be, and that's all human beings.
Mm-mm.
Who you no longer want to be. You actually can be in anything you want, anything you want. Anything you want for yourself or your life
Yeah.
is available. It is available, and it does take something. The first step really is just observing and being aware. If I don't do anything different, I'll get more of the same. So, like, in other words, life, while it's great, and especially in this country, we're so blessed, we have such great lives. But if nothing changes, then life will continue on as it has. But if you ask your question, what if? What if it is possible to have love in your life? What if it is possible to have abundance? What if it's possible to be healthy and then take an action inside of that? There's power in that. Choose and move is my motto.
Yeah, absolutely. And that just makes sense to the video I just posted today. I was like, movement is the only way forward, right? And a
Yes.
lot of us, we get stuck, like you
Yes.
said. And I love this program that you have. In fact, I want you to tell us a little bit about it because I know you have things coming up. And also, I'm just so grateful to have you here. So, spill the beans. What are you doing? How can they find you? And how can you help the world manifest what they truly want in life?
Yeah. Thank you for asking because I think at the
Yeah.
end of the day, what I want more than anything is to make a difference for people.
Hmm.
And the way to do it is to give away what you've got. Most people are real stingy with what they have and giving away. So I've created a program called Creating the One, and that came out of all the brain science and neuroscience and technologies, positive intelligence, all the different things I've studied, as well as my own life experience. Like, how did I
Hmm.
perform championship teams and perform results, produce results? So it's called Creating the One, and it doesn't specify on one thing that you have to create. It's what do you want? Do you want love in your life? Are you willing to give up that you can't have it, you don't deserve it, it's not possible? Do you
Yeah.
want love? Do you want to create a business that thrives where you're known and seen and heard in the world? Do you want to travel the world? Do you want health? What do you want? Do you want to lose weight? I could tell you all kinds of stories where
I
I've
want them all.
Oh, my favorite story is helping a woman lose 50 pounds, and she said she didn't even really do anything that was hard. It was more
Yeah.
of a mindset shift, so we can have that on another conversation, but do you want optimal health? Do you want to feel good, look good? And so it's called Creating the One. And what it does is it debunks and walks you through what you've made up in your life and who you think you are. And you dismantle that. You dismantle all those wiring and those images and those, remember, 50% of what we believe to be true in our past wasn't even true anyway. So you dismantle all of that. You get the science behind it. And then once you get to nothing and a clean slate, and it happens pretty quickly, then you create
Mhm.
and you create it. That's when manifestation, that's when your word starts to create your world. Words create a world. Man on the
Mhm.
moon, men will be free. Those were
Yeah.
all declarations that created a world. So creating the one, I'm launching it soon. I'm going to do a lot of introductory sessions that are free to people so they can come check it out. So I'm going to go ahead and give you the QR code. You can post that. And what I'll give your people as a gift, first of all, I so appreciate just being part of your life and being part of the difference you're out to make,
Yeah.
is that I do a personality assessment that in and of itself is a game changer when it comes to relationships.
Mhm.
Fill out the personality assessment. It tells you how you're wired inside of a
Mm.
particular personality code, and it basically describes you and your life, what you like, what you don't like, what you value, and this is free to all your people. But then if you have
Awesome.
your spouse, your partner, your potential partner, your kids fill it out, what happens is you start to see, "Oh, you're wired differently than me. You're wired for," like you, for example, Jeanette, I know you well enough to know you're wired for fun, opportunity, like, let's go, like, you're wired for optimism and and action. I am not wired for that, which is why I've created this program the way I have. No stone has been left unturned. The details, the science, the research, the proof is in the pudding, and the pudding is there. I'm wired for order and integrity and responsibility and steps and processes and methodologies and low risk. You're wired for high risk. I'm wired for low risk. So your people
Mhm.
chance to see what they're wired for and
Yeah.
what to do about it, because there's always a great, now we know what we know, now what?
Now what? Yeah, now what? No, I love that, and I'm already gonna sign up because I already have this vision, this belief that I am going to do great things. I was put on this earth to do great things and to help people and to create movement in the world, and alongside my amazing team, including yourself, well, we're gonna do it.
Yeah, that's beautiful, because for many people like you who are already ultra
Mhm.
accomplished and really powerful, sometimes it's the one thing,
Yeah.
creating the one thing that if you got that out of the way,
Mhm.
would have everything go. And that's what it all boils down to. And for others, it might be, no, I really have to shift how I see myself.
Mhm.
I have to dismantle this thing that I'm broken, I'm damaged, nobody wants me, and it can never happen for me. And for
Yeah.
some people, it might take a little bit more than it would take for you, having already done the work. But you know what? It is possible, and it's possible in a very short time frame. Don't wait the rest of your life to find out it was all made up anyway, and you the wrong story.
Yeah, no, I love that. Thank you so much, Kathy. Thank you for being here. I'm so excited. I will get the website, the socials, the QR code, and everything, and make sure they're attached to this for all of our listeners. And I'm just so grateful for you.
Yeah, thank you, and I'm grateful for you. It's, when 1 plus 1 comes together, sometimes it can be unlimited, and I that's the
Yeah.
experience I have with the 2 of us, that,
Yeah.
with your commitment and my commitment and the difference we're making in the world, we really truly can leave a huge lasting impact in the world. So thank you. Thank you for who you
Mhm.
are and the difference that you make every single day with people.
Hey, thanks for listening to Untamed and Unapologetic. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to follow, share, and subscribe. Stay connected, and we'll see you at the next one.